Hey, Lucas, how are you doing?
I think I can't hear you for a moment. Bear with me.
Of course.
Sorry,
Yeah, no worries. How are you doing?
my headset is a bit weird in terms of Bluetooth. Can you say hi again?
Yeah, how are you doing?
Okay, I'm gonna have to reboot it. 1 second. I should be able to hear you now.
Yeah, do you?
There's something wrong here.
Eh,
Sorry about that, Rodrigo.
no, no worry. Figaro fi, Figaro foi, Figaro, Figaro, Figaro fi, Figaro.
Mm,
Let me. Could have been mine.
Let me just get another headset. I'm so sorry.
Sup, sup, sup.
How's it going?
Good, and you? How is
Good,
everything
good.
there?
Very good. Super busy.
I imagine. And like
Yeah.
with the price falling down, like we all need to get the shit together with other stuff.
Yeah, I got the fiat mines going. I got agents working in them right now, so
Good.
that's how I get all my stuff done is I have agents working on everything at once.
I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad. Can you hear us now, Pedro? We cannot hear you now. Maybe your mic is off?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so I just switched from this microphone to this microphone. And turns out I couldn't hear you, not because my headset wasn't working, but because my Google Chrome Meet window was in mute. So
Dang.
there's too many knobs to switch, to flip.
No worries. How are you doing? How was your weekend?
It went by really, really quick, and you?
We had this like summer practice at the Kendo Club, so I'm destroyed. I'm like more tired than a human being right now. But that's all good.
So what activity is that? Sorry? Summer practice of
Japanese
what?
fencing. I don't know if you've seen it with like a bamboo sword with a mask.
Okay.
And like I've been doing that for like almost 25, 26 years. So like
That's
I
crazy.
regret it. I should have done Zumba. Girls, nice teachers, no melody,
You
no
know,
martial arts.
crazy. Yeah. Okay. Interesting stuff.
What
I
about you,
usually
Ryan? Sorry.
go on.
Say again? What was the question?
Your weekend, bro. How was it?
Oh, super busy. Had a swim meet for my daughter, had a bunch of gym stuff, church. Yeah, it's action packed. Finished, well, almost, I guess not finished, but I worked on my Mac Mini server. I got ClaudeBot setting up on it,
Really?
codecs and all the fun stuff, trying to get it automate as many things as possible. So all my free time went into that.
You're also getting a machine just for that.
Yeah, kind of. I'm not gonna like expose it to most of the internet though,
Hmm.
but I want it to automate. I mean, I keep it on my home network and try to get it to automate all my tasks.
Epoch was just saying he's doing that as well on Cardin Over Coffee.
Yeah, I figured even if it ends up not using it for that CloudBot thing for a while, there's a good chance I can use the Mac Mini as a Cardano node someday. So, um, like the specs are just about right for it, especially with the Maru coming out. So, figured it was a worthwhile investment.
Yeah, yeah. I've been thinking of getting something to run Amaru on as well, but maybe a Raspberry Pi. Does that work, or is it
Yeah,
really too tight?
I think it will. Yeah, so it's 1.5 gigabytes of RAM is all that's required for Maru on mainnet, which is just wild to me.
Hmm.
So you can get a $45 Raspberry Pi Compute Module 5 for 45 bucks. All you need is a board to snap it into and networking and power.
Okay.
Dang.
Cool.
So we're
Is
talking
it
dirt
gonna
cheap.
be like the same amount of RAM when like we have like partner chains and like all the DVCing going on the block producer?
I haven't heard about DB sync changes yet. There are some caveats with Amaru, like so Amaru is doing a lot of what do they call it, the UTXO LSM thing, where they're writing a lot of the UTXO set to disk. So I think Amaru is doing that by default, so it'll use up a lot more disk space, which is fine. Like disk space is much, much, much cheaper than RAM. And then the other thing is Amaru is not keeping the full history of the chain. So it's only like up to like the last hard fork or something. I forget which one. Maybe it's like the Vassal hard fork or something after that. But it's not
Why
doing
is it
all the
like
way
that?
back. Just because it's a lot of extra work to bootstrap all the way from Genesis, and it's not necessarily that much benefit to be had by doing it.
So, okay. So it's a bit like starting from a mithril image, but
I think it's something like that, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But that's a big reason why they're able to have such low hardware requirements, is they're not trying to keep all those like Plutus V1 scripts and all that stuff in the history. So I think it makes sense.
Okay. Maybe let's jump in. Welcome, Jintama, as well, and Meek. Nice to see you guys here. I was DMing with Jonah. He said he can't make it. Hey, how was your weekend? Is the question right now.
Yeah. I had a relaxing weekend. It was chill, nothing major, just a good one. Yeah.
Cool. Welcome to Mark as well. And
Hey everyone, how you doing?
good. Jumping around. I'm hosting a number of different calls. I'm starting Web3 for non-technical people tomorrow. We're planning of streaming it to LinkedIn. And then I'm doing design on Fridays with Rodrigo was there as well. It was really interesting. But I'm starting to mix a lot of stuff together. But anyway.
Yeah.
And you, Mark?
Yeah, good, buddy. It's been a busy week. Just finishing some bits off on the Explorer. Releasing the day job's getting in the way too much now at the minute.
Okay. Did you notice what the guys from Mesh and Sedan Labs released?
Yeah, it looks alright, doesn't it?
I have it bookmarked, but I haven't looked at it yet.
I made a note about that. Let me just bring it up.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, I haven't had a deep dive into like how they're showing metrics and bits. So I was gonna like this evening have a look there. But I do like yeah, I like how it's got the results on the list page, which a lot of explorers don't like to do. I mean,
I was fiddling with it.
Yeah.
You can filter to just active ones, and then when you get into a specific one, I don't remember how interesting it is. This is obviously inspired from the prediction markets, I think, but maybe I'm just biased.
Oh, it's cool though, like knowing how it basically is votes over time, right?
Yeah. Good thing is about this one. That's why I picked the Van Rossum. I think we spoke about this one last week, right? And it's now like in the green, so very happy to see that.
One
Still,
thing that,
sorry.
I guess while we're on the topic of governance stuff, one concerning thing I realize is there's 11 days left to vote for that protocol parameter change. I think it's like Plutus execution units or memory units, but hardly any SPOs have voted on that, and that one requires SPOs. So that's a huge thing that we got to get people to do, because this is a blocker for the hard fork. And there's all sorts of benefits to be had from that parameter change too. I don't think there's really any downside to it.
So you're talking about this one, right?
That's the one, yep.
But it seems to have a lot more traction with SPOs than the other two that require SPO.
That's do the other two are info actions, so I don't think they necessarily.
Yeah, they don't require
okay.
SPO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was seeing it measured here, and it doesn't show them here. But anyway,
it hasn't met the threshold though. You can see what 19 or 18%. That's a bit small. I can't really see it.
Yeah, so I see the thresholds right there.
50% in the next 11 days. So if you know any SPOs, make sure to remind them.
Yeah, I've still got to cast my vote. I'll be doing that tonight as well. So,
are you doing the signing directly with your keys, or are you doing the Calidus key thing, or that's not still working, is it?
Calidus keys don't work for mainnet governance actions.
Not yet. Okay.
Yeah, I don't find it as troublesome as a lot of people seem to find it, but I'm very familiar with CLI and back and forth between a couple of machines. So
Okay. So I'm still like a Miro geek, dropping things around here, and I organize things a bit. Maybe we could have some kind of for the forum of people that are participating in these calls, could have like a call to action section, and maybe I'll create it there to that if anyone comes by asynchronously, if they're catching up on the recording, we can drop here a post-it about what Mark just pointed out, right? So I'm not sure if it was Mark or Ryan to vote on this action, on this governance action.
oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm not sure, I'm gonna drop the Miro board link again onto our chat and pin it up. And I would invite you to come by so we can have this as collaborative as possible. One thing that you could do for a couple of minutes that I meant to ask is maybe come by this section where I was grooming things, even asynchronously, weekly. You can come by and drop any reminders of things that we could look into. So I would ask you to vote in a way with a thumbs up on any things of the ones here, or add your own stickies for today's session of anything that you may want to talk about. I think there's a glitch there, Ryan, where I pasted it and it doesn't have the final equal sign, and it's a glitch where if I double click like I did to copy it, it doesn't get the equal. And
Yeah,
then,
that was it. Weird.
Yeah.
That worked fine now.
I get a feeling that all the Miro links end in an equal sign for some reason, and it causes issues sometimes.
I think it's
So
basic
yeah.
before. I'm gonna double check though.
Okay. Have a look, please, into these yellow ones and drag or drop anything else. I have a number of other notes on my like text file on the side besides what's on the board. But I feel like between everything that I'm adding in here in yellow and everything we had already put on the board for open discussion, plus the recurring call segments that we may want to have a look into. One of them, for example, for today would be for the tooling reviews to have a look at that quadrant of our board and to just trim it out and update it a bit because it's months old, that section of the board. Maybe we can add and remove some of them and just flag the loose, the low hanging fruit and update them. So yeah, I'll just quiet down for a bit and invite you to have a look at everything while I make a note here.
I was looking at the recent governance actions, and I was looking at the DREP rationale and the social medias. So I found one thing that I find it very weird is that DREPs, right? They just look at the action and vote on it and put a rationale out, right? But I have not seen them, maybe debate with the fellow DREPs or who have voted opposite to them on yes or no, or raised points against their valid vote, yes or no. It is like the DREPs are voting, they're like playing single RPG, single role playing game, instead of it is an MMO, right? MMORPG, but it's like they're playing single RPGs. So like, why are people not, questioning other DREPs? Because when the top DREPs vote yes, right, like Yuta and let's say some other people, Yoda and Patrick and all, and no one questions their voting pattern or no one calls out to them as a fellow DREP. Why is that so?
Okay. So, Jitama, I'm going to add that here as a topic. I'm not sure if you've added that, if you've touched on that on the last session when you dropped
No.
things in here.
No. Yeah, it's the first time I'm talking about. It's just something
Yeah.
I noticed in these last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. So maybe I would phrase what you just said as the reps not keeping each other in check or something. Would that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But it is also more about like, they're playing a single role-playing game as a DREP, whereas governance is a massively multiplayer open role-playing game. Okay, so that is how I, putting it out.
Okay.
So
So
I think
RPG versus, that's a funny way to put it.
yeah,
how do you
it's
spell this part?
RPG versus MMORPG.
Is it like this? RPG. Yeah, it doesn't mean much to me if you phrase it like this, but it's interesting. It's an interesting way of doing it. I think in overall, people aren't looking at each other's things that much. I mentioned it on the last call that I would love for some Gov tool to allow people to have the list of favorites that they want to observe, whether it's for yourself to inform your direct voting or to to check back on other people, like you were pointing out. But yeah, if you could drop some more thumbs up on any of these topics that could help us prioritize. Obviously, I think this one, I'm not sure if we have anyone new on the call. We have Debbie. We have Maureen. Welcome. I was DMing Maureen just earlier today. I'm going to pin the Miro board on the chat. You should be able to see it. If not, please let me know. And there's also a Google Sheet, which is basically like a sign-up sheet for this space, where you can sort of declare your links and a bit of your background to network directly between people that come by. Okay, that's fine, Maureen. You're welcome to just listen in. But yeah, for anyone else that's joining us for the first time, there's a link now on the chat for this Google Sheet, and you can just sign yourself in and leave some ideas about what your organizations are that you relate to in Cardano, and a bit here what's on your radar, broadly speaking. And then if you want, apart from today's, like we're still now trying to prepare what we're going to work on today or discuss, there's also this broader open discussion section of the board that we can come back to at any point. Okay. So when you, by the way, when you drop anything on here, I recommend that you click this little thing to show the author, because it's really useful for us to know who's dropping what onto the board. And okay. So I see a lot of thumbs up and okays for, I'm not sure what, Rodrigo, what do you mean with the green tick? Is it like, let's do this one as well?
Yeah, just double support, man. Being silly on the board.
Okay, okay.
Like, I think this is super important because Mauricio and I been talking. Like, we have this politician layer, which is good. It's doing an awesome research, and it's having like a really interesting conversation, but with how to say, with a smaller scope of people that are building tools. So, for example, what you're doing, organizing Tempo, Sea Explorer, and like both the rest of the explorers. Sorry, I forgot the names of them.
Yeah.
Like it's easier to like get to an agreement and what it could be and how could be something standardized.
So
It's
this,
way easier to call the action. Sorry.
Are you talking a bit like we discussed on the last call about, okay, you have a nice view for governance actions, I have a nice views for SPOs?
That, and also, for example, how are we measuring the active stake? Are we counting this epoch or the last epoch, for example?
Okay.
Yeah,
When we're
totally
voting in
agree.
governance, you know?
Totally agree with that one. That's why I put that post-it there, because you check like 6 explorers right now, and they've all got different percentages.
Yeah.
So exactly like you say, Chili, just getting that on paper. So this is what I query, and this is, and then we just know why they're different, you know.
exactly. Like it can still be in the black box, but like we got to know about it because we
Yeah,
are the building. We are like the social worker class, like it's building the tools. So we need to communicate better with each other.
for
I
sure.
Yeah.
believe.
Okay, so there's the UI part and there's the standards, like can I say accounting standards, or does that translate?
Reporting standards is probably better.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah. Like for this one, I don't think it's very feasible. It's like a law of the jungle or rule of the jungle where whoever is most like by public approval or something. But here, yeah, I agree that that could be something that I don't know. The thing is, who could stick a flag in the ground and try to define standards, right? What I think, like thinking broadly, just to answer my own question, is instead of someone publishing it and saying this is the standard, everyone should be transparent about how we're doing our calculations. You know, if everyone sort of documents, whether it's through tooltips or through a documentation page, how they've calculated things. And I've worked in reporting a lot as an IT person in banking and all that. So the calculations need to be very clear when you're building for accountants or for banking people. They need to know, how do you get to this number, just when you're seeing it on the screen. So I'm fairly familiar with that. And there you have that example as well. It needs to be transparent for the technical person and for the non-technical end user, how to interpret the reporting, right? So does that make sense to anyone? Any follow up on that? You don't need to raise your hand. Just jump in.
Yeah, yeah. Pedro, there was this document made by a mesh team about how they are measuring and what tools they are using. I'm not sure if we can go into intersect and under governance health working group channel Discord, right? If you scroll up a bit, they have put out that document about how the people are building the tools that they can measure the calculation of certain metrics uh, to show on the board. So they have done that work, and some data is there on that part.
Okay, let me try to bring that up if I can. Any other thoughts? Welcome to Quasar as well. There's a Google Sheet on the chat if you want to sign in, and I've actually added your name here if you want to complete it and just drop some links to you about yourself. So let me just come into the Intersect server. Gintamo, which channel were you talking about? Sorry.
Governance health working group under civics committee.
Within civics.
Yeah, yeah, below, yeah, this forum, yeah, health,
Got it.
yeah. So if
I
you
haven't
scroll
been
up a
here
bit,
since November.
yeah, you scroll down, you can find it.
I
Yeah,
clicked go. Okay, this one?
no, above, you scroll up, more. Yeah, almost we are there. Yeah, this one expand, yeah.
Okay. So this is Felix from Mesh sharing. Okay. This is nice. Sorry, I'm scrolling too much. Okay. I'm gonna just check if this is published there as
No,
well.
it is, I'm not sure if it is there or not because it was supposed to be put, but I don't think they've yet put it out.
I think it looks like he was transcribing this section 5, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, that is only the KPIs, but this is the measurement method that has been written.
Yeah, isn't that this what the Civics Committee produced? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah.
This, yeah.
But is this what the Civics Committee produced independent of the MVG funded proposal from IOG? And does it matter?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay,
I
if
don't know
it's
if it matters.
independent,
Yeah.
then what is
Okay.
what's IOG going to produce that's going to contradict this, if anything? Or-
Yeah, Ken, I asked Ken about, he didn't go into much detail and I was in a rush, but if they're going to produce anything along these lines, like when they measured their data, they're obviously going to have to say this is where we got it from. And I'm assuming it's going to say we queried DB-Sync using these tables and conditions.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't know what their output's going to be. It's hard to find progress other than a couple of blog posts for that one.
Well, so for which one? Sorry, Mark.
The Beyond MVG.
Ah, yeah. Well, there was a link tree just there, and I was creating a section in our board about things happening in governance. What are different people doing? So I'm gonna copy this one, and I know we have Maureen on the call as well, who's helping with this. So governance education initiatives. So it's a new section there, contrasting a bit with the tooling one that we have. So here we're reverse engineering, or, you know, that wouldn't be the term, just reviewing the gov tools that are out there. So more on the technical side, let's say, in terms of as apps. And here we could document a bit what everyone's doing in terms of education and that kind of stuff. So just gonna add something here too.
Also, there is a governance education working group. So they have also, produced some standards and documents. So I'm not sure how far they have come about, but they have certainly put some thing together.
Okay, so this one is at Intersect, and anyone can find it very easily, I'm sure, which is cool. Yeah, not sure how much we should use the time on the call to delve into each of these particularly, but this part here I think is really interesting because it sort of helps. I'm not sure how technical it gets, like what Felix was pointing to. Maybe we should actually read what he wrote, right? So here, no. Did I go
No, you have
past?
to. No, you have to scroll down. You have to scroll down.
Could you say
Down.
again?
Scroll down.
Down, thanks.
Yeah. Down.
I'm
Even
moving
more.
inside too fast.
Even more.
Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm actually going to drop this. So it's a bit like Mark was saying, use Koyos and then do this and this, right? By the way, it doesn't really point to it. The document doesn't point to tables or something like that, does it?
Well, because
a
he's
bit weird.
using that API, the Cosius API, that'll just reference that data structure. And then online, you can check out that API's endpoints.
But is it a Koyos endpoint or?
Pardon?
So is he talking about getting it straight from Koyos or?
As far as I can tell, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't aware that Koyos had all those things already, but it's still it's a lower level of the same thing. How did Koyos decide, or why did Koyos decide to calculate things some way, not a different one? Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm interested to see but this, I don't know if we can get people to share that information. I'll happily share all the queries I've used, like the Postgres queries and stuff, not a problem, but I don't have as much writing on it. But how many of the explorers use like which and what APIs they use. We'll just highlight a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's something that I think it's interesting that we bring into our radar, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to progress much, to push the ecosystems in some direction, just out of the back of discussing it here. I think we've touched a bit on the importance of having standards or disclosing how your tool is calculating things. And what we could do at most is, like Mark, for example, you're saying you have your your specs formalized. Maybe drop them here as well, so we can start contrasting. And maybe let's take this one a bit more asynchronously, because we're halfway through our time today already. Is that okay?
Yeah, just to add to that, like if we wanted to push standards from this group, that's exactly how we could start it, sharing queries and bits and
A bit of market research, let's say.
yeah, and formalize bits amongst ourselves and then match it up
Okay.
to what the other groups are doing. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to call it specs, and that's it. I always feel like I'm starting to get the feeling that these calls are always going to feel like short, too short. But hopefully we can start going over topics enough that we iterate and we get some progress and closure on some of them. So let me just go through some basic ones here so I can just put them to the side. So we don't have many new participants. I know we have Quasar. I'm not sure if you want to say hi. There's Morgan as well. Thanks for coming back, and Meek and Dominic. I'm not sure if I mentioned to Dominic, you can come here and sign up, share a bit about yourself, please. Or if you can open your mic as well, just to say hi if you want. Jump in.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Welcome.
yeah, thanks, man. I'm Dadwell. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, I sign in with my regular
Mhm.
yeah, I love when you guys are, talking about queries and what particular things are returned. I've been a developer for a while. I did the logic in the contract for like the Silk Toad IO. It was like the Disco Solaris thing, and we've done some other did work and whatnot in the past. So on Dagwell Dev, I have an Explorer, and also, I'm just trying new ways to be able to get back information, especially when it comes to the governance, like show me back, like DREP or whatnot. So right now, I'm just kind of going through, working out just information that people want to see. In the background, we've got some profile and just some kind of ecosystem map generation. But my goal is to try to remove some of the hardships of being able to see information that enables our government, our governance users to be present, and to have be informed really on the decisions that they make. Um, we have an Explorer as well in the background. So what I've been doing is, I have the whole stack running on a good server. That one takes forever, but I have the whole stack running on the still works, so running on the server, and I have it sitting on top of DB Sync. I have all the necessary methods, Koyos, and Ogamos, but I find that I think the right now the route that I'm going to take is just making sure that my direct queries on top of of DB Sync are bringing back what we want, and I have we're training an agent to be able to know how to query the DB Sync, and also no proposals. So right now, me and Quasar are going through. We're building a system card. It's already done, but we're just so that way makes it kind of easy to share SQLs if you guys were interested in what we're pulling back. You can just look at the SQL.
So this is a query from Koyos or
This is for DB Sync.
DB Sync?
Yeah. So and so that's right now. That's what I'm going now. When I only really use Koyos and Ogamos when I'm forming transactions, and that's just because I didn't really feel like writing my own wrapper, so I'll use like Lucid or something like that, which is it just works easier with the Coinmigos or whatever they call it provider. So whenever I hear people talking about this, really getting into the nuts and bolts of it, I'm just kind of want to figure out ways. Hey, will you click that link, the DREP link? I don't know if I turned it on yet or not.
This one?
Yeah, it might not be on yet. Let's see.
Quasar can jump in.
I'll get it. I'll get that back working just to make sure.
Okay.
But that's actually what we're building like right now. So it'll bring back like a voting history and whatnot. So I just gotta kind of tweak that up between the front end. That's like cutting edge. That's what we're doing like as we speak. But we just want to, we just hopefully want to give people an opportunity to be able to look through stuff, and then when it returns information, our next thing is to, hey, you should be able to just click it and search the information and explore right there. So if anyone wants to make a decision on proposals, our next thing that we'll be adding, hopefully we'll get it done today, depending on how much time me and Quasar have to like kind of talk it over. But we're going to be putting out an ecosystem map based on proposals. So it'll show the DREPs and how they voted on particular proposals. We'll have the proposal as kind of like the centerpiece, and then we'll have voting power and different DREPs who voted yes or no on that proposal, just to really make people aware of what's being pulled, and who's voting on certain proposals. Now you will see obviously the government analytics proposals. What I'm doing for right now, this is still in beta mode. I do have some custom views that are sitting on top of DB Sync that really kind of like speed up, like sort of like indexes, but obviously it's just I'm already pre-grouping some information, so that way we can take exactly what comes back and format the data a little differently. Now you guys can see obviously that there is a lot of I'm literally creating recipes and training a AI model, and just to really kind of just allow us to be able to create. I want to be able to talk to the database. I want to talk to the chain, and that is. And then when I talk to the chain, I want to be able to get back accurate information that I can then verify in the Explorer. Like I want that to be a so thank
can
you.
I ask, what are you using for this kind of chat interface that we were seeing just now?
Yeah, I wrote pretty. It's just so the back end of it, I have a custom RAG that I've built. I think that one's running off like Llama 8B or something, and then it's just tailwinds, to pretty much just create that. And then I have kind of a layer in between. There's I have a couple of components that take the data based on proposals with the expected information from the off-chain, voter and DREP information. I have that format so that that's always available. So it's just kind of like really right now it's just kind of just front end but on the back end, that's where obviously, like I said, we're running DB Sync. We have the other things on top of that, but on the back end, we're training. We're training an agent to be able to, they're pretty good at SQL, but as far as being able to know the data structure of what it's querying, that's taking the fine tuning. But I think it's worth it because right now you you can already send an API like in the back end when I'm testing it in the CLI. I can already just send an API for the information, get what I want back. So I envision a time where you have a D app and you can just, plug in an API agent right there that allows you to be able to get the information that you need. So
you have a lot of stuff, different stuff here, right?
yeah. So
this one, for example, has nothing to do with blockchain.
No, yeah, that's with our carbon credit. Yeah, we're taking live sensor data, and we're going to expand this to allow people to add their own sensors as well. And this is in process of taking. We just want to allow people to know that you can use the blockchain as like a archive to kind of hold your scientific data. And this, that just kind of shows I've been doing this for about 2 years now, so there's a lot of data that kind of.
Didn't I see you like in Gimbal Labs 4 years ago or something?
Yeah, of course, Pedro. I've been working ever since, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it never stops, bro.
I've never seen. I haven't been seeing you. But
so
cool.
it never stops. So that's just. I just want to let people kind of show how we're like showing our DMRV. And then the Oracle later, we don't have to talk about it now. That just takes the sensor data, it runs it through another agent that we have in the background that takes like the weather data, the position of the sun, the humidity and whatnot, and it turns it into an SVG that's a representation of the humidity. And you can click it from anywhere in the world. So that allows you to update the background of like from Russia with love, or from Brazil, or wherever you actually know the longitude and latitude coordinates. You can either mint that one as like something that you can always have, or you can change the background on the site. And we just wanted to display. You can do it mints. You can do a 721. You can do a SIP68, or you can also convert your 721 into a SIP68. Because we want to let people know what you can do with the metadata. It's all about the information on chain. I think we all know that, and there is a lot of ways to actually manipulate and show this metadata that is so beautifully saved in the UTXO system. So I just think we need to showcase that. I believe it's the best system for RWAs, period. It's just by far. Cool. Thank you guys. Sorry.
Now, welcome. I hope you can make it from time to time. I invite you to, you probably see the pinned messages on the chat. So I invite you to go over Miro. There's a short introduction to what we're doing here, get familiarized with it and come by from time to time whenever you can.
Sure, Will. Thank you.
Even asynchronously as well. On Discord, we try to keep things there in terms of, catching up with the calls and the notes and all that. So great stuff.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the time to chat. I love nerding out on stuff that everyone knows about in the group and we can talk about. That does not happen too much. So just to have an audience that just knows what we're talking about, it's such a good thing. So thank you for holding the basis.
Like I was saying, for now, we're just, people are coming in, we're getting to know each other. We're trying to find out what the format can be and what we can talk with each other about. I'm trying to keep it not necessarily 100% technical. So that's why I was creating a section here to review governance tools, and also another one here for education tools or education initiatives and public debates. My notes, I'm probably not going to be able to bring them up today, but they, from 45B side, we're actually more focused on education and culture. So for example, things like be a direct voter, not delegate to the DREP, get DREPs, like Gintama was saying, to check in on each other and to keep each other accountable. I think the human layer of Cardano is also almost as important as the tooling and technical side. But so let me just dive in here. And so we've covered, I'm not sure if we have anyone from Cardano, C4 Cardano today here, but I'm just keep it. I think we had someone on the last call that could speak to that, but let's leave it here for next call. And we're probably not going to have time to do this today because we have like 15 minutes almost, a little more. About what the Constitutional Amendments Working Group has been doing, come by the calls, their calls on Thursday mornings, and maybe we can touch on it eventually here. I'm going to focus on this one here just because it has a lot of thumbs up. Who's building what map? All the things that Sir Corin knows about. So basically, I think both of these, we're doing them already, but it liaises a bit with what this one talks about. Sir Corin, I'm not sure if you want to say anything about it, or how we could continue to gather different things being done. I'm currently only separating it between like the education ones and the toolings. So here we have the education ones, we have tooling. Is there any nuance that you want to point to, or?
Yeah, that's a great question. It is kind of difficult to figure out who's working on what. I feel like every day I find some new tool delivered that I didn't even realize someone was building. And then often you run into times when people are building 10 different versions of the same thing. So like, I'm not sure what would be the best way to like combine and track those, to have like a map of who's building what so it can be better organized. I mean, I was thinking about doing like the flowchart things for Catalyst and Intersect budgets, but that'll just kind of help see the flow of funds. So you could also do something similar for dependencies. So if you have like a tool or something that people are using, see which projects are implementing that tool or using it as a dependency, and kind of map it out that way as well. But it still doesn't necessarily give you a map of who's building what. And this kind of runs into the problem of like, the problem I'm worried about is, you guys know the XKCD comic where, I don't know, there's 15 standards and somebody says, that's ridiculous, we need to build another thing to unify all of them, and then you have 16 standards. So I feel like if we build a tool that shows everybody who's building what, then we'll just have another tool that needs to be tracked. So I really don't know what to do.
Chintama?
Yeah, to answer Ryan's question, the enterprise and governance adoption working group under GMC, they are working with Cardano Foundation to step up the Cardano.org website and ecosystem mapping, which will make it easier for people to know which tools are being built, which tools are being used, and they're trying to update all of this stuff.
This one, right?
Yeah. So I think by March end, we will see it more different than the current thing that you are seeing, and more updates here. And
so one of the things I'm doing on this other, it's actually parked for a bit now, the CPIA project. It's a funded proposal meant to extend this component or this bit of the Cardano.org with some like dependencies. So documenting and visualizing the dependencies. CPIA, like I said, is mostly parked as an organization. It's an alliance of infrastructure providers on Cardano. I used to work in Maestro when we got this one started, and we have this proposal that's eventually also going to try to, like I said, create visualizations between the tools, as you can see there. So, but this is something that we need to, pick back up. It's just to say that I'm very familiar with what you're talking about here. And when I'm sitting in on the working group, the Enterprise and Government Adoption working group, I keep an eye out for this because of that. Because it's something that, because this is sitting on Docusaurus, it's something that could be useful and could be forkable and usable by a lot of people in the ecosystem. I don't think that we are going to get very far if we continue to have one single canonical thing where there is a gatekeeper. There's someone approving these PRs, these merges, all these changes to this database. So I'm not sure if I've mentioned it to you guys, but what I feel like we need is something that does document things, presents them in this fashion, it's explorable, but it's also like a decentralized protocol that anyone can fork and like use for representation of a slight nuance of things. But I'll keep you in the loop about that. For now, what's happening here is that you just have a vertical list of everything, and there's no connections documented between all of them. That's another challenge, would be to update these kinds of things. And for example, a lot of Gov tools are not even listed here. So yeah,
Yeah,
data
so
grooming.
by end of March, there will be changes, a lot of changes, because CAP is putting a lot of money here, and developers to make the changes and make it the main marketing thing for businesses and enterprise to look into as a first stop. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Is there any other thing apart from Cardano Cube or things like those that you can think of in the ecosystem for documenting dependencies? I know that some people say, oh, you can just run a bot to check all the dependencies between all the repos. Is that feasible? Does that sound feasible to anyone?
I don't think I meant to say that Cardano Cube was documenting dependencies. They're just adding to the functionality of their governance related section of their site, which is still just pulling information that we all are I think trying to access, and I think trying to find the proper way to present it to have more functional participation and data that we can use to see what's actually going on. And I've got one thing that I'd like to add, since we're here.
Sure.
I think so. For me, I'm coming in as a stakeholder and a alternate voting constitutional delegate, and I'm bound to the fact that we were sold on constitutional debt and future work streams that would be funded, that would be building these things. And I'm going to be hammering hard this constitutional debt, and at the same time trying to find funding immediately what's active, for what Dagwell and I are building here. But at the same time, finding a way to get funding for all governance tooling. And I think that's something that's, we've said we're going to do. I don't know that we've actually done it or who's going to do it, but that's kind of where I plan on focusing my my narrative and my approach to doing it. If anyone wants to participate, please join me. If anyone wants to offer criticism or critique this approach, also, I know the word debt makes people feel uncomfortable, but it's the truth. We were sold a bunch of debt by Intersect, and now they're trying to they're getting paid to do the debt that they sold us on. Like, they sold us a bunch of shit. Now they're making a contracting agency to get funded to do the stuff, when in fact we kind of thought that was going to the delegates as a whole, or the delegates would be taking that information to the community, and there would be the funding. So I'm with you. You can be with me one way or another. I appreciate it all. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for doing this, Lucas, for real.
It's going to be an open
Quasar.
door for a while.
Quasar, I'm with you on that. Sorry, Lucas. I just want to add to what Quasar was saying. Because like at the end of, straight after the convention, a bunch of delegates got together and we're trying to put a governance action proposal that included all this constitutional debt, and spent a ton of hours, with Max. You were there a couple of times, I'm sure, a bunch of us were. But ultimately we couldn't get support, and none of us had 100k ADA to really take it any further. And then obviously a bunch of other stuff happened, and then the MVG proposal came up, and I agree. I think a lot of people are seeing that as the constitutional debt proposal, but it's just not. It's just it's needed, in my opinion, very expensive for what it's going to be. But yeah, that the delegates were there and willing, and now it's a year and a half later. So I'm glad you're still pushing that, Quasar, man. I see you on Twitter, keep dropping the debt word. So yeah.
This year went on like in a flash for me, but
Yeah, it did.
yeah, I still feel like the list of things that what do they call them?
Work streams.
Yeah. It's that there's a lot in there that could have been useful if we work on it. But one thing, the reason why I named these calls governance and funding is because, and we touched on this on the first call, that eventually we were here talking about how to fund our governance initiatives, whether it's education or tool building. I think the way to get your things built the way you want is to find ways of funding it as well, like crowdsourcing, or it needs to start with public traction, but then turning that into approval of funding, whether it's through Catalyst or governance action or something like that. I'm just saying this, it may sound obvious what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is don't expect Intersect to formalize anything for you or to give you the funding. So very much with you as well. That's really, it's in the opening notes of these this initiative, that just start doing your own things. You can just do things, right?
Right.
So make some noise. Okay, now let me just zoom out a bit, get this one to the side. I'm just going to try to take a bite at something else today, and then we'll leave it in asynchronous mode until next week. But one thing that I think we were coming to conclusion was that this one articulates with these three as well. With these three articulate. So reviewing the tooling has to do with gathering who's building, and this as well for who's doing education. And so I'm just going to bring all this down to sort of in progress, and then we can iterate on it. What else? Oh, one thing I wanted to ask before we close our time is, so the one thing that I added as well on the Google Sheet, this sort of calendar. So you are here. Today is Monday, February 2nd. And I thought it would be funny, although I don't want to do the every 5 days thing, because we would get a lot of weekends. We could leave these calls happening on Mondays every day, every week. But then in this case, from time to time, we're going to have this occurrence here where an epoch is starting tomorrow and it ends during the weekend. So if this forum, this working group, let's call it whatever we call it, wants to check in on anything that happens within this epoch, we could have a quick, short check-in on Friday. Can I get some thumbs up? Maybe at 4:30 UTC is the same time. Yeah. So I'll create an event there. It's maybe even just a 15-minute, 30-minute max on Friday at 4:30 UTC PM to check in. And then we'll continue to have just Mondays at the same time. Quizzer, I see you active on the chat. I'm not sure if you want to voice any of that on the call.
Not specifically. It's really for Mark.
Okay,
It's
just checking in.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
Cool.
it. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime. Okay. Who did this one? Meek, do you want to speak to this one? Meek Owens. Running a small campaign. Oh yeah, I saw this tweet, and yeah, I'm not sure if you want to speak to it. Otherwise, I'll just bring it down here to the actions in happening. What did I have that here? Sorry. Here. I'm not sure if it's very focused on governance, but I'll still leave it there. And if you want to add the tweet here, maybe that makes it more shareable. So that should be good for you guys. What else do we have? I'm not sure who did this note here. I'm just sort of prioritizing your contributions as well. So okay, so this one, I'm assuming you guys are reading through it. Maybe we can add it on that section where we were talking about standards and best practices recommendations, because it falls a bit between the conceptuals education and the tooling itself. Go on, please.
Yeah, which point are you talking about? I'm not sure. I'm not able to see the presentation.
Metric
Yes.
of DREP comparison on voting on
Ah,
NL's
yeah, that's by
ACL.
me. Yeah, I wrote that.
Yeah.
I also added in the tooling section Yasi store by CF, which is a governance tool made by CF, which was
Which
shown
think
last year at the Cardano Summit in Berlin.
where did you add that one? Is it this one?
Near to this one.
Do you have a link for it?
I don't have a link right now, but I can find it. It was
I'll
on the
try to find it.
CF X.
So what is it? Can you explain briefly?
Yeah, it is like a chat bot, which can give you any specific anything about any on-chain data that you require. And like if you ask him like how many transactions did the chain process in this epoch or in certain time, it can give you that which was the highest amount of ADA, transaction, or who is voting right now. So anything about governance related, it is you can find it. So,
Okay, so it's probably this repo here, but it says blocks being here.
yeah, it is a CF funded by CF Dev.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, so I'll copy these two links and drop it in there. Although it's not necessarily a tool, so probably we won't need this kind of matrix of analyzing the tool. These balloons here were more for governance tooling. So is that okay?
Yeah,
if I
they
just
also
this?
yeah. They also have MPC servers that people can, take API or something into their disk telling me. I didn't understand much, but it was like, people can get the data from directly from that MPC, whatever it is, and, make their own indexer or something. So it's something that can help build tooling for people. Because there are like
Great.
85 MPC servers something.
Cool. So that one we can leave somewhere here as well, and I'll tidy it up later. So I'm just going to come back to this. Is there anything else? Meek, jump in. You're still not audible.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
So I'm here to speak about C for Cardano. So it was just a small education series that I just launched. It's all about 28 days of Cardano. So the idea is simple. For each day in February, I'll be breaking down one Cardano term, one letter at a time, in a way that's easy to follow for newcomers while still meaningful for those already in the ecosystem. So the goal is to help people better understand the language used across Cardano forums, spaces, and community discussions without the hype or unnecessary complexity. So the intro is live on YouTube, which I did yesterday, and day one, which I did for A for Ada, is already up on YouTube too. If you're curious, you can watch. I added some link to the Miro. Then today I've done B, day two, which is B. I've done B for block. So I'm gonna add that link there. If you wanna reach to the content easily, you can just do C for Cardano on X or on YouTube. You can just search up for C for Cardano, C for the for like the number, then Cardano, then you can find that. So it is a very much community driven learning effort. So feedbacks and suggestions or corrections are all welcome. Thanks for your time. I hope it's useful for someone here or even out there. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks. It's an interesting way of presenting things. Okay, guys, we're over time already. just wanted to close here. I don't think there's much more that we should go over today, but we do have a lot that we can pick up next week. I'll see you on Friday. If you can make that quick check, I'll just add it as usual to the our open hours calendar on Luma. So if you go to links.45b.io, it's basically routing to our link tree, and you can subscribe to that here, recurring calls for several projects. And I've been usually recommending people to add it to their Google Calendar as an iCal subscription. Any closing ideas from anyone? It's great turnout. Hey, Jintama.
Yeah, I maybe in the next 2 weeks, right? I'm planning something that I would require support of these group members, right? In a something for community. So
Mhm.
I'll be presenting it, when it's near to come what the plan is and how I move forward. So I'll be sharing that in next week.
Okay, you can use our Discord as well. This is available through the links there that I was just showing. And you can create a thread, for example. If you think it's going to create a lot of conversation around it, just jump in on our governance channel in our server and just create a thread for yourself. I'm very happy to host the discussion there if you think that's useful. So just to illustrate, here we go. Gov and Funding thread chat, and there's a number of threads that you can create through there. So overall, like I was saying, it's great to see everyone showing up, and I'm sorry if we don't get to cover everything in a lot of detail, but I'm very happy to have this meeting point here. Just going to try to keep it snappy and not be over time so long as we did last time. Okay. See you next week or in DMs or asynchronously. Bye.
Thank you, Lucas. Thank you.
See you soon.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Lucas.
Thank you, Lucas.